I'll give us a little
Action.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll give us a little cut down. Give me another one.
Action.
What's up, guys? I'm sitting here with Logan Odom. Logan, what's up, baby?
How's it going, Josh?
It's going good. Thanks for taking the time to interview with me. Logan was an awesome baseball player. Played some professional baseball, was drafted by the Angels. Logan, give us a quick rundown of your baseball background.
Started off when I was really young in life. It was all I wanted to do. I was going out playing baseball any chance that I could. Always wanted to play professionally. Ended up playing in college for 4 years. Started at Western Nevada, awesome junior college program out of Carson City, and then transferred to the University of Southern California, Fight On Trojans. And that was a great experience too. From there, got drafted by the Angels organization, played a few years in their farm system, and then after I got released by them, I actually played a couple more years of independent ball, so still professional but not affiliated with any major league clubs. And then after that all ended, I came and got started in real estate, and now I'm here talking to you.
Hey, I love that. A couple things. Now, you played as a position player too at Western Nevada, right? And then you transitioned into pitching. I know you always threw in high school. You kind of did both, but you ended up mainly being a pitcher after Western Nevada, right?
Correct, yeah, and to be honest with you, at Western Nevada, honestly, I wasn't even really good enough to make that roster and get a lot of playing time, so I was just trying to find a way that I could get on the field and get in. We had a stacked club, finished runner-up in the Junior College World Series.
Wow.
My sophomore year, which was an awesome experience, but I didn't play a ton, so for me, it was all about just trying to learn, progress, get better at my craft, and started really pitching after my sophomore year of college. And then when I went to USC for my first year, it wasn't great to start. I was kind of a cleanup guy, kind of a mop-up guy out of the bullpen, but worked hard every summer and got better and progressed. And it took me a lot further pitching than probably I could have gone as a position player, to be honest. So.
Yeah, and it's funny how that works out sometimes too. I have a similar story in baseball. Didn't quite make it as far as this guy, but it's interesting how sometimes making a transition into something you didn't think would maybe happen that way for you, going from a position guy to pitching, it took you to places that you probably didn't imagine would happen at that time, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool to hear. What would you say? You transitioned into baseball after, or into real estate after playing professional baseball. Is there any carryover from what you've learned in baseball in your experience to what you've now known now in the real estate business? Has it translated at all?
Yeah, I think athletics translates well to any type of job, especially sales jobs. As an athlete, you learn specific skills from a very young age, and maybe more so than any skills, your ability to show up on time, to be there when you say that you're going to be there, to perform consistently each day. It's a grind in and out, and you're always competing. So if you can take that into the workforce after your sports career is over, I think it always translates no matter what you do. You've got to be a self-starter. You've got to show up every day. So, the little things like that, I think, translate really well. And then being part of a team also is a big one, in my opinion. As you know, we here at the Rutledge Property Group, we have a team of people. So, you're not just out working on your own. So that also translated from sports and from playing ball to me, working well with other people. And then when you have that many different personality types, a bunch of young men, communication is huge. If you're not able to communicate with your teammates, your players, your coaches, your staff, there's going to be a lot of problems. So I think that's one other really big thing.
Yeah, 100%. I think you couldn't have said it any better. When you go from a team, which we did playing on a team our whole lives, to going on another team in the workforce, it's a lot of the stuff's really the same as far as communication goes, as far as, figuring out that we're better in numbers as opposed to just being on our own all the time. I mean, we have so much help here at our office. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, and I've noticed a lot of similarities myself. I haven't been in the business as long as you have, obviously, but for those of you that didn't know, Logan was my senior agent, meaning for the first, maybe 6 months or so, I sat by him every day. I asked him a million annoying questions. I listened to him on the phone. He took me on a bunch of appointments. I learned a ton in that first period from just sitting next to this guy and everything that he's been through. It was really cool. Logan's been an awesome mentor. So a few questions for you about the business, how long have you been in real estate?
I've been at it for about 7 years.
Okay, about 7 years. And from when you first started compared to now, when you're seasoned, you've been through a lot in this business, what would you say, or would you say that your business has changed entirely? And obviously it's changed a lot. You've done way more deals and stuff now. You understand the process insanely well. What would you say what would you say to someone else looking to get into this business for kind of what to expect starting out, and maybe give them a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel of what you can expect, when you're 7 years in?
Yeah, that's a great question. Pretty loaded one. I could talk about it for probably an hour and a half if I really wanted to dig into it. But just to highlight some main points, as you get started in real estate, there's a lot to learn, So finding a good mentor, finding somebody who you can learn from is always going to help get you on the fast track, which is another aspect of the team that I love. I mean, Adam, our team leader here, what you did with me was what I did with him. When I first started, I went on appointments with him. I sat next to him. I asked him a bunch of questions. He probably got annoyed with me asking him all these things, but it really fast-tracked me and allowed me to learn a ton as I was getting going, which is super critical. And then the business, as you do it longer, definitely changes because it is very relational. Those relationships that you make with people, if you cultivate those and you take great care of people, they're going to come back and they're going to use you again, and they're going to send you referrals, and that's the easiest business. And honestly, that's how I build my business. I love working with referrals, friends, family, people who have come back for 2, 3, 4, 5 transactions with me, which is always great to see, and it means that they're happy on their end. So honing your skills continually, building those relationships. There's a lot that you can do in the business while also staying sharp on your contracts, what's going on with the market. People aren't going to use you if you're not an expert in your field. They want to be able to trust you. They want to know that you're putting in the work behind the scenes to become that expert, not just their friend. So that builds trust, and that's something that I've really worked on. I take a lot of pride in what I do and making it through the process with as little friction as possible. So, the longer you do it, the easier it becomes in a sense, because you're just cultivating relationships instead of building new ones. But it's also about reaching out to new people, making new connections, and continuing to grow your business. And ultimately, you're responsible for your own business. Whether you're on a team or whether you're out on your own, it's up to you to go out, create those relationships, take great care of people. And being in real estate is tough because there's not always someone looking over your shoulder. It's up to you to show up to the office in the morning, put in your time, put in your work. You can very easily do less in a day, so you've got to be able to refocus, maintain that mindset that keeps you pushing forward. And beautiful thing about real estate is once you do that, your earning potential is endless. You can get out of it exactly what you put into it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you couldn't have said that any better. And it's for someone that's newer in this business like myself, who has been around some pretty impressive people in this business, like yourself, like Adam, like Autumn on our team, Matt Pride, who's been in it for a few years, and other people in the business that I've been able to meet. It's crazy seeing like what you guys do and learning from you guys all the time, and seeing the time that you put in, seeing the commitment that you have to your clients. It's pretty wild. You're always going above and beyond for them. I've seen you do some crazy things where you're helping people tear off roofs, and you're going an extra mile that a lot of people are not willing to go. But I think it's evident, and it's clear with the amount of referrals you get. People really like working with you, and it's cool. It's cool to see. Um, as a new person, if I'm coming to you, there's a million different things that you could tell me because you've learned a lot in this business. But what would you say the one piece of advice you would give to me if I'm just starting out? I have a high drive. I want to do well in this business. What would you tell me to where should I start? What would be your best advice?
I would say just keep the wheels turning. In real estate, it's easy to get stagnant or get caught up in doing something or spending too much time on it, or or getting caught up in the day-to-day, the small things that can pull you away from your dollar generating activities. In the long run, we're here to make money. You know, it is a
Mm-hmm.
job. That is the reason that we show up to work every
Mm-hmm.
day. It is relational. Loving to help people and going that extra mile is only going to benefit you in the long run, but you have to keep the wheels turning, just constantly be out there. And I know that's something you do a good job with. I mean, we're shooting this video right now. You're out there on social media, which I should probably take some notes on because I don't do a very good job of that. But it's just keeping the wheels turning, keeping moving, and not looking back. You know, I hear a lot of people talking about the grass being greener on the other side, but really it's what you're putting into your business. You know, if a business were to fail, who do you think would be responsible for that?
It's always us.
Yeah.
Whoever owns the business, it's
And,
always up to us.
and if it's successful, it's the same thing, right? So ultimately, it really boils down to us and what we're willing to do on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have a plan, you have to execute that plan, and you really have to be consistent. I mean, that's one of my big takeaways from sports as well. You know, the guys who got the playing time and the guys who moved on to the next level. I think a big portion of that is consistency because, you know, as a pitcher, a manager goes out, hands you that ball, says, okay, go get him. You know, if he knows what he's getting out of that pitcher, he's going to feel really confident and comfortable putting him into those
Mm-hmm.
situations. And that's no different in work. If you're consistent and you know what you're getting every single day, it's going to be a lot easier to make money, to generate that income, to build your clientele, to get those referrals, and ultimately close deals, and do it for a really long time, because longevity is also what it's about. You know, there's a really high turnover rate for realtors, especially
Mm-hmm.
here in the Rogue Valley. Someone gets licensed and we see them gone pretty quickly a lot of times. So longevity is a big one too. Take great care of people, have a plan, execute it daily, and stay on the grind.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's awesome. I think that from what I do know, it's pretty limited, but we're always learning. There's always something new in real estate too. We're always training. I know our team does a ton of different sales training. We do a ton of different training in general, but it's like, you know, from contracts to appointments to, you know, a listing presentation to a buyer's consult. You know, there's so much stuff that goes into this. It's easy to see on the outside, you know, from a good agent, oh, this guy, you know, doesn't look like he does that much, or girl, this girl doesn't look like she does that much. But when you really know what goes into this business and how hard it is to be successful and generate new business on a day-to-day basis, I think a lot of people's perspectives would change, and they would change really quick, because this is not an easy business, and there's a reason there's a high turnover rate. People get into it, think, hey, I'm going to make $1 million, or I'm going to be rich soon. It's like exactly what you said. It's up to us. A lot of people aren't really willing to do what it takes to get new business and to generate, you know, new clients and stuff. So kudos to you. Thanks for taking the time to meet with me. I appreciate you going over this stuff and sharing, and thanks again.
Absolutely.